All right, everybody, welcome back. Let's jump right into it. Today, we're doing one of those deep dives that hits close to home for a lot of us, I think, talking about what it's really like to work at those big name companies.
Yeah, the ones we all know.
Exactly. Specifically, we're looking at Cisco today. Now, we found a pretty intense Glassdoor review. This is from a former senior partner account manager based out in London. And it's not just your typical my boss was bad kind of thing. This gets into some serious accusations about the company culture as a whole.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this review uses some really strong language right off the bat, words like toxic and even brainwashing to describe the work environment. And at the core of it, this former employee claims that Cisco actually creates a culture that's damaging to employees' mental health.
That's a serious allegation. And unfortunately, not entirely uncommon these days. We're seeing growing concern around corporate culture and its impact on mental health, especially in those high-pressure, always-on roles.
Like sales, right? This review specifically mentions being harassed by sales leadership quite often, including evenings and weekends, which makes you wonder, how common is this kind of thing?
It's sadly more prevalent than we'd like to think. The expectation of constant availability has become the norm in many industries, and sales is a prime example. That constant pressure to hit targets, exceed expectations, and be available at all hours takes its toll.
So where do you draw the line? Because obviously there's a difference between having high expectations and creating a toxic work environment.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between ambition and well-being. Companies need to set challenging goals, yes, but not at the expense of their employees' mental health.
And this review really slams Cisco on that point. It claims that instead of addressing burnout and stress, they actually pile more work on employees. In fact, the reviewer specifically suggests that management should find ways to actually reduce the amount of stress people have in their daily work lives.
And that's what it comes down to. Action, not just words. Many companies pay lip service to mental health but fall short on providing actual support. There's often a disconnect between acknowledging the problem and implementing effective solutions.
So what needs to change?
Well, for starters, companies need to go beyond simply acknowledging mental health. They need to actively invest in resources like counseling services, stress reduction programs, maybe even training for managers on how to spot the signs of burnout early on.
It's about creating a culture that prioritizes well-being as much as performance.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a lot to think about. We are just looking at one person's experience, and obviously Cisco employs a lot of people, but it does raise some important questions about the responsibility that these large companies have to their employees and how we can create healthier and more sustainable work environments in general.
Definitely. It makes you think, what can individuals do, even within a demanding work culture, to advocate for their own well-being?
That's something I hope everyone listening will take the time to consider.
I agree. It's an important conversation to have.